there's a reason why I call this show House of the Deadbeat. House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 4. Let's get into it. See, I've been trying to defend Corlys and support him as he's entering his, his single daddy era. But in this episode, he's lost me again. I guess Corlys has realized that raising fully black children isn't as easy as he thought it was going to be. Instead of him sticking around and trying to fight for his sons to be legitimized, Corlys just got angry, decided to bounce. I don't know what to do or say about Corlys at this point other than Deadbeat. Daemon, come on down to the front. But when Rhaena came out of that cave looking, and Daemon saw her, and he was basically looking at her like, hey, boo, I know I never, watched your mama do your hair, and I didn't learn how to, but I don't think what you have going on is how it's supposed to look. For a brief moment, I felt bad for Daemon. I really did, because he genuinely looked worried for his child. But then Rhaena started recounting her childhood to Daemon and talking about how she felt so lonely and overlooked and unloved by her family, especially her father. And I lost all sympathy that I had for Daemon in that moment. It's like Daemon was a better father to Caraxes than he was to Rhaena. Daemon couldn't even deny what Rhaena was telling him. He knew that it was true. And that is why, Daemon, you are a deadbeat. He had to do something fatherly for his child, and he did what he needed to do, which was lie to Rhaenyra. Now, it did cross my mind for a split moment. I was just like, if Daemon had gone back to King's Landing and told Rhaenyra the truth, would Rhaenyra forgive Rhaena? And I toyed with the idea for a minute because Rhaenyra has proven herself so far to be very forgiving, but then I remembered that Rhaenyra don't really F with her black family members like that, so yeah, Rhaena probably would have ended up getting roasted. Hugh, they better not try and paint Hugh as this hero, okay? I remember when season 2 dropped and I was trying to convince several people that Hugh is a deadbeat too. Hugh's wife was trying to convince him to leave King's Landing when their daughter was sick, and Hugh refused to go. Then they closed the gates for King's Landing, and then his daughter was not able to get food or resources and ended up dying because he did not listen to his wife. Hugh's wife told him that she did not want him to go to Dragon Rider tryouts, okay? She didn't care about the riches and the glory that would come from becoming a Dragon Rider. But what did Hugh do? He left. He went to the Combine, okay? And fortunately, he didn't get roasted. Hugh made it to the League, but still, he didn't listen to his wife or what she said that she wanted. And as far as I'm concerned, Hugh, your wife wouldn't have had to worry about being assaulted, felt by some nasty soldier in her brother's home. Your brother-in-law would still be alive. Why? If you had stayed in King's Landing, because she left King's Landing because you weren't there anymore. He's a deadbeat husband. Low-key a deadbeat dad, but he's a deadbeat nonetheless. Where are my Hugh haters at? Allison, I almost put you in the deadbeat category for choosing to not raise your son when you had, the money and the resources to do so. But then I took a moment and I thought about how Aemond and Aegon turned out, and girl, you did what you had to do. So Allison, you get to escape the deadbeat allegations for now, even though you did send your baby into the arms of a monster. But you didn't know, okay? And let's talk about said monster, Ormond Hightower, okay? I don't know why I had just like a sliver of hope that Ormond Hightower would be a decent person, especially when I saw how he, punished that soldier of his who was about to assault Hugh's wife. That was my bad, okay? Because as Ormond kept talking, especially the way he would talk about women, and then also, he's Mr. Bad and Bougie, when he threw that tantrum and started hacking away at the table, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a little crazy. And of course, we see that he, further progresses in his crazy and cruelty when he coerces Darren to murder that innocent man. I couldn't stand the way that he was talking about Darren's Targaryen heritage and culture, basically telling him that it was tainted and less than, and he was getting upset with Darren for befriending his own dragon. And shout out to Tessarion, because Tessarion knows that Ormond is bad vibes, and poor little Darren, like, he doesn't want to betray his brothers. He didn't want to kill that man. He's just being raised by a crazy person. Rhaenyra, I don't know who needs to hold your hand and gently tell you this, but boo, you are the mother of bastards, and that's okay. What's bad is that you let Ulf, a certified lame, get under your skin and get into your head. I think one of my big frustrations with Rhaenyra is that I don't understand why she won't test out just letting her work speak for her to gain the favor of the small folk. She's about to cancel out any good that she's doing for the small folk by giving them the gold, because she allowed her soldiers to go and terrorize all of the small folk in King's Landing over some graffiti. Ray, you completely mishandled Graffiti Gate. Aegon. It's like Aegon is hard pressed for us to hate him. Here I was feeling just a little bad for him when he was mourning the loss of Sunfire, but then he quickly got annoying again because he wouldn't get off of the carcass and leave. At this point, I don't know why Larys has not left Aegon behind, because I would have been gone. Speaking of characters that I think everybody hates, Sir Krispy Kreme. Sir Krispy Kreme. I know that Gwaine is sick and tired of this man, and so am I. His thirst and obsession for Rhaenyra is still alive and well, and of course it is, because he is a loser. And then him telling Gwaine that, like, we need to cling onto our honor so that we don't become beasts. Crispy, you're already the beast. You know, at this point, I'm thinking that maybe it's little Darren that ends up ruling Westeros, despite his uncle trying to turn him into a monster. But I don't know, like, Aegon is just so stupid, and he's probably still cleaning fecal matter from his mouth from kissing that man's boot. That's so Helena has glimpsed into the future and let Aemon know that he is not long for this world. And for Rhaenyra, you know, ideally, I would love it if she could just step down as CEO from Westeros and retire in peace, because let's be honest, she doesn't even really like the job. But, you know, that probably won't be the case. But don't tell me what happens. I don't want to know. I'll find out by watching the show. Thank you. I think almost every single character in this episode managed to irritate me. And I loved it. Okay, I loved it. But let me know your thoughts on House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 4. And also, I want to know who you think the biggest deadbeat in Westeros is.